Hello! In this video, I'm going to do my best to teach you how to make one of these little doohickeys that can hold cords together, hold your hair ties together. Here's another one. Very easy way to use up leftover yarn that you might have and random buttons that you might have. All of this is used with secondhand materials that would normally not have a home, might just be tossed out. So I thought it would be fun to share this. This could be a good stocking stuffer or a gift for somebody who's maybe tech savvy or has a lot of hair. I don't know. I saw this photo on Pinterest and thought I could recreate it and make it my own. So all you will need is yarn. You really don't need that much. It can be the scrap yarn left over after a project. It can be new yarn. It can be whatever you want. I'm going to be using this one so that you can see it easier. So you'll need yarn, a crochet hook. This is a crochet project. I should have said that. This is crochet. And you'll need a needle of some variety, hopefully a chunky one if you have it. If you have, I think this is called a tapestry needle, like a fat yarn needle. It could be plastic. And then you will need a button. Just make sure that your needle, or you have a needle that can go through the eyes of your button. And I have quite the collection. Oh my gosh. This pattern is super customizable, so you can make it as long as you need, as small as you need, depending on how much yarn you have. And you can make the buttonhole bigger or smaller. So I will show you the variations on how to do that. To start this project, we are just going to chain to our desired length. So create a slip knot, and we're just going to chain. Okay, this is 20 stitches. I think for this little tutorial, I'm gonna make a longer one. So I'm gonna go with 20, and then I'm going to add just a few because once we reach this end, we are now creating our buttonhole. So you'll need to grab your button and compare the size of your button to your work. I'm gonna use this little pink one and hold it up to your thingy. I would guess that it needs to be about probably 5 extra stitches. So I'm just gonna chain 5 more. And again, you can make these as long or as short as you want, and you can use really any button that you want. Oh my gosh. So now I'm going to skip. We're going to start the next row. I'm going to skip 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'm going to work into that 6th one and see if that works for this button. And when we're moving our way back, I'm just going to do slip stitches the whole way. So this is not a single crochet or a double crochet, we're doing just slip stitches. And once you do that first one, you can test to see if your button will fit through that hole that you just made. And it's a little bit tight, so I'm gonna take that out and I'm gonna actually go into the 7th one instead of the 6th. You can adjust as needed. And the hole that you are making right now is going to get a tiny bit smaller because we're going to work back into this hole, directly into it. So it's gonna get a tiny bit smaller. Keep that in mind when you're testing. So let's test this. This is 7. Yeah, that's good. And then just slip stitch the whole way back. Once you reach the end, we're going to chain 2 and then turn your work, and this counts as our first double crochet. We're going to double crochet all the way back down, and then at this end area, we're going to double crochet directly into the hole here. So starting on our way back, skip this first stitch that you just came out of. You're going to yarn over, insert into this stitch, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, all the way back. Alright, now that you've reached this little loop that we created earlier, instead of double crocheting into the next stitch right here, don't go in here, double crochet in through the hole. Same process. And then depending on how big your buttonhole is, that's going to change how many stitches you do into this hole. So for my size, a button that's like, I don't know, thumb size, I don't have a ruler or anything next to me, I have found that about 8 to 10 double crochets in the hole works. But if your button is bigger, you're gonna just do more until it looks good, or less if that's too crowded. You'll kind of see what I mean once you get into it. It's very adaptable. So I've just done the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can kind of scoot them if they're starting to bunch. 7. I think I'm gonna see what 8 looks like now. This is the 8th one. Okay. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. If you have like extra room, see if it looked like this, you could add more. If you like the more bunched up look, you can definitely do that. It is gonna make the top kind of more bulbous, so it'll be straight and then like come out kind of like a keyhole, more than just like a rectangle with a half circle on top, if that makes sense. Like it won't all be in line, it's gonna become more bulbous. So totally up to you. At this point, once you're happy with the amount of stitches you have, you may want to double check that your button does fit through now that there's more going on in that hole, and it does. Hooray, I like that. So next we're gonna double crochet down this side, and you're gonna go into this first stitch. If you can see, it's gonna be like holding on by a thread. Go into this one right here, and then double crochet back. And it may be a little bit more difficult going this way because this is now the original chain that we're going to be working off of. Alright, cut your yarn and then pull it through the loop to fasten off. This is done. All that's left is to tuck the tails and sew the button on. To do that, I'm going to use one of these yarn needles. I don't know if that's actually what it's called, but it's basically like a thicker needle with a blunt end so it doesn't split through the yarn. If you don't have one of these, it's not that big of a deal. You can use your crochet hook to pull, oops, the tails through the bits of yarn to hide it that way. And then you can use a regular needle and thread to sew your button on. Okay. Get in there. Oh, yes. I don't really have a method to this. I just always throw the yarn in somewhere where it might be hidden, might be visible. I don't know. If you have a method, do that. I just throw it in. I'm going to use my tail that was in the middle from the beginning chain to sew my button on. And you can use a different scrap of yarn, or you can use regular needle and thread to sew your button on. But I'm gonna do this because it seems like a good use of this yarn. So I've like woven it through to the spot that I want, and I'm gonna tie a knot just so when I tie the button, or when I sew the button on, it doesn't cinch the yarn up. So I'm gonna tie a knot here to be like, okay, that's where it begins. And then see if this will fit through my button. Oh my gosh, it will! Incredible news! And let's see, how do I want it? You know, layer. I think I'm gonna do it like toward the end. Like here. I'll go through it a couple of times to make sure it's secure. Oh, that one is very stuck. Just wiggle it through. There we go. And then once you're happy with where your button is, go ahead, tie it off, and then tuck this tail again. Oh no, I didn't record that! Oh my gosh. Well, what you missed was I tied a knot and then wove the tail back into it. And we're done! Look at that, it's going to button. Oh my gosh, this one's so cute. I love how it turned out. So I hope that was easy to follow. And once you get the hang of it, I would say this takes only about 15 minutes, 10 maybe. It's really fun. It's easy to customize, I hope. Make it longer, bigger, shorter. Add whatever button you want. Maybe you could add 2 buttons if you're getting crazy. And I hope that, yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Thank you.